Fáilte Thursday night off the ball with me, Maire Treasa Ni Cheallaigh, and we also have Shane Stapleton with us and Richie McCormack. We've loads coming up. We've John Giles. We're going to be previewing the Allianz Football League. We'll also be talking Offaly hurling, which should be a good chat. And we also have the football show and lots more as well. First things first though, before we even go to the news round, Richie, breaking news, coppers being sold.
Yeah, no comment. I've only ever been there twice.
I have a gold card.
Do you have a gold card?
Oh, I do, of course.
That does not surprise me.
Well, I'm having a little look in the poker here. I'd say...
How often does that get used though?
Daily, nightly and ever so rightly.
How do you have a gold card and I don't?
There we go. Look at that.
He actually does have a gold card. How did you get it?
Through AIB, they have some link up, hashtag the toughest and all that. With the club finals this weekend, that's a perfect segue. I'm sure that's our top story, Richie.
Not since Cool aren't involved now.
I know. It takes the edge off when I'm not involved.
And how often would you frequent Copperface Jacks, Mr. Stapleton?
Now and again. No, I don't actually go that often anymore. I've matured.
That often? No, I would doubt that you've matured in any way, shape or form. But yeah, literally I've only ever been there twice, and the first time was we were producing an OB. We were doing an OB from Coppers. And there's a bunch of people like Kieran McGeeney and Senan Connell and a few others. Ian Hart was there actually. And we did a show from up there, and that was my first time ever being in it.
But you were more of a Fibber McGee's type guy. Like back in the day when you worked.
Fibbers used to do 3 €3 bottles of Erdinger. When someone I was in my 20s.
That's hipster. You want that hipster.
You were far too hipster,
Enjoy alcohol.
Like when he was 10 or 15 years ago, I used to work in a bar that you drank in.
Yeah.
And you had the biggest lamb chop sideburns I've ever seen.
I did indeed.
Full on Elvis.
Grew it into a full beard.
So that means you've no fond memories of being in Coppers dancing along to, like, I don't know, I mean, not that I'd be that familiar, but maybe the 5 Mega Mix, perhaps. Nathan Carter, Wagon Wheel, Saw Doctors, N17.
Nathan, no.
Bewitched, C'est La Vie. Shane, you're smiling like you've done it.
Look, it's a guilty pleasure, what can I say? I love it.
I think this is a good place to maybe segue away from Coppers and allow Richie go into his news round before he dies, because we're killing his credibility.
Pat Mustard is
Pat Laffin, dying is it's sad news.
That's a tough one.
We were just saying in the news there what a legacy that man has left to have, 2 of the most indelible characters in Irish film and TV history.
Well, there were a lot of hairy babies around Craigie Island, weren't there?
There were indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, news round, Richie. Move on.
A lot of exhausted housewives. Jockey Noel Feely has announced he plans to retire at the end of the season. The 43-year-old battled back from complications following an appendix operation earlier this year to pick up a first winner at this year's Cheltenham Festival. Today, 50-1 shot Eglantine Dussoy claimed the Mayor's Novices Hurdle in a photo finish. Feely twice won the champion hurdle at Cheltenham and was also a 2-time King George winner aboard Silvagnaco Conti. But an emotional Feely says it is time now to step aside.
I'm just delighted to ride a winner for Charles Sullivan. He's been a great supporter over the years, and it's just a perfect way to get a winner here for him and I suppose announce it. And it's time to, as I said, I'm not getting any younger, so it's time to get on with it.
Nice way to end at the festival, nailing it on the line. Don't you think that'll be all right?
I won't forget it for a while anyway. So look, I've had great support over the years. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I suppose I got to start working now, so it's been a fantastic time. Look, I love riding horses. I love horses, and I've had some great support over the years. And it's time to let everyone else get on with it now, I think.
And we have John Duggan actually standing by for us now at the Cheltenham Media Centre. John, how's the wallet looking? Is it nice and heavy yet?
The wallet took a bit of a hit today. It wasn't my best day, but look, that's kind of irrelevance, really. It's all about the stories, and some great stories here today. Stairs Hurdle was a great story. Andrew Gemmell, the owner, blind since birth, Paisley Park, huge money for him in the market. Named the horse after the fact that he's obsessed with Prince, as a fan of Prince, and that was Prince's sound studio in Minneapolis. So, that was a great story for Emma Lavelle and Aidan Coleman, the jockey of Paisley Park. We had 3 Irish winners today, 11 in total now. Duffy Dussoy won the opening race for Barry Garrity, and then Barry was on another winner half an hour later. So 38 winners now at Cheltenham for Barry Garrity, the second most successful pilot at the festival behind Ruby Walsh of all time. Garrity's second winner was on Gordon Elliott's Star de Burleigh, 4-1 favourite. The second Irish winner of the day came with that 50-1 shot for William Mullins, Eglantine Dussoy. And then we had Ted Walsh, 22 years after his only other Cheltenham winner, which was Comanche Court. We had Any Second Now winning for him under Derek O'Connor in the last race. So Quite an amazing day for JB McManus. 3 winners for him in the colours of his. The Paisley Park was a great story, and another great couple of stories. Bryony Frost on Frodon, winning the Ryanair Chase, and we also had Lizzie Kelly winning on Saru de Lac in the 2.5 mile handicap chase. So that was really Thursday's action. Things move very quickly here. We're moving on to the Gold Cup tomorrow, so 16 runners in that. William Mullins had 3 winners. Gordon Elliott's had 3 winners. The Irish are doing well, but Paisley Park, a kind of beautiful story with Andrew Gemmell.
You mentioned Bryony Frost there. Am I right, John, when I say she's the first ever female jockey to ride a Grade 1 winner at Cheltenham? And that's huge. It's a great accolade for her to have.
Over chases, yes. Katie Walsh rode the Relegate to win the Grade 1 bumper. But yeah, over fences. And I think she's won 4 out of 5 times on the horse this season, so she gets a great tune out of him. She went out in the van, as I say. She went up front, she jumped brilliantly, and she repelled the opposition, ASO, and wrote to respect. So a great win for Bryony. She's the daughter of Jimmy Frost, who won the Grand National in 1989, and so she comes from a good stock. And a great win for like herself and Rachel Blackmore. They've got like Nina and Katie retiring. You think, okay, is that going to be it? But Bryony Frost and Lizzie Kelly and Rachel Blackmore have all had winners this week. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and Noel Feely there, we just heard him being really quite emotional once he announced that he would be retiring this year. And I thought it was quite funny when he said, I'm going to have to go and get a real job now. It's obvious the man loved what he did.
Yeah, I mean, there's an obsession about being a jockey. I think you have to be a little bit mad to be a jockey. You're going at 30, 40 miles an hour on half a ton of an animal that can have a mind of its own. He's from Cork, Noel. He spent a long time, riding in England without like the top success. And then he had 2 champion hurdle winners, Rock and Ruby and then Bouverger. So in the champion chase winner, Special Tiara, and maybe none of them were in any way expected, really like hot favourites or anything like that. So he's gone out at the top, and to win with a horse that Willie even told me after the race that they were going, why bring this thing over? And Willie said, well, sure, we'll give it a go. And Willie's won every single renewal of that mare's race, and a 50 to 1 shot beating another one of Willie's, which is a 66 to 1 shot. So a lot of burnt fingers in that race. But generally, the punters did well today. I'm looking at here 3 winning favourites. We had a couple of favourites at the end of the meeting last night. So, but Paisley Park was hugely backed off the boards, and the favouritism was justified.
And what should we be looking forward to tomorrow at the Gold Cup?
Well, the Gold Cup has got 16 runners. It's an open race. It's the blue ribbon of the week. It's got 22 fences to be jumped, 3.25 miles to be negotiated. There's no prisoners taken. They go a real good gallop. The ground is soft, on the soft side of good, but it is drying out all the time. I don't think you can really make any excuses in the ground. And a lot of great contenders. Native River looking to defend his title. We also have Clan des Obeaux for Paul Nichols, who had the novice winner yesterday. So Clan des Obeaux won the King George of Kempton. And then we got Willie Mullins, has been second in the race 6 times. So he's got 4 darts on the board. Bell's Hill for Ruby Walsh, Paul Townend, Album Photo, Invitation Only, and Kemboy, the man to David Mullins, who's yet to have a festival winner. And we have another couple of Irish as well. Annabelle Flies in there as well. So, yeah, look, it's an open race. Presenting Percy is the kind of the mystery horse. He hasn't run over fences this season. 90 years since a horse went to Cheltenham and won the Gold Cup without a run over fences during the season. But he's the favourite based on the fact that he's come to Cheltenham twice and he's won easily twice. Pat Kelly doesn't have many horses out in Crockwell and Galway, but this is a special horse. Davy Russell, haven't seen much of him this week, but we'll see a lot of him if he wins the Gold Cup on Presenting Percy tomorrow. Hard race to call, fascinating contest.
Before I let you go, John, I know people will be strategising now for tomorrow. Any idea what's the weather forecast going to be like tomorrow?
I think it's going to be okay. I think we've had the worst of the weather, the wind and the rain that's come through, maybe a few showers, but nothing that's really going to change the conditions, Maire Treasa, significantly to alter the sizing up of the Gold Cup market. And I think what we've seen today and what I saw today, the market moves had paid off in the last couple of days. They paid off for Tiger Roll, for Envoy Allen last night, and there was good money for Sire de Burley today, and there was good money for Paisley Park and pay dividends in the betting ring. So follow the money is probably the best piece of advice I can give anybody on the likes of Odds Checker and these odds comparison websites just before the off tomorrow, because the money is generally talking this week at Cheltenham.
Great, John. Listen, thanks a million for your time. And our Cheltenham coverage is with thanks to Kildare Village, home to leading menswear brands with savings of up to 60% off the recommended retail price all year round, including sports brands such as New Balance, Under Armour and Puma. Now, before I let Richie go on, Coppers, it's got people talking. So we've got a text from Cullum. From Coppers to top rides at Cheltenham feels appropriate. Any night I'm in here, it just generates down into the gutter. Another.
Jesus.
We've another one. Top
There's no
Coppers
class
tune.
with this place.
There's none, but we're bringing some class on now with the next text. Top Coppers tune has got to be Mambo number 5. If you remembered any of the names beyond Monica, you were doing well, and that comes from a man called Dave. Do you remember the names?
Deborah was in there, wasn't there? There was a Rita
Sandra,
in there for sure. Sandra.
Jessica.
Erica.
Rena?
No, it's not about Cork women.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Rena.
And another text. Coppers is the only place I've ever got lost in 3 times in one night while never actually leaving the venue. A maze of debauchery from Ashling in Arklow.
Yeah, I've seen some things in there.
With a bit of booze, the GPS can go against you there.
I'd say, yeah.
Just Reach for the Stars is quite a tune. S Club 7.
S Club 7.
That's a great Coppers tune, Reach for the Stars.
One other thing now.
Along.
Can I throw one at you now, seeing as we're talking about horse racing?
Go on.
So we all know what the unit of measurement for the height of horses. Hands.
Yeah.
Up to what point, from the feet up to what point do they measure?
To the shoulders, to the hocks, isn't it?
But what's the specific term for the place they measure up to?
I don't know what.
The withers.
I'm withered listening to you, lads.
The more you know.
Great input there, Shane.
Knowledge is power.
Thanks for coming along tonight. As John mentioned there, Bryony Frost becoming the first ever female jockey to ride a Grade 1 winner over fences at the Cheltenham Festival. She got a 9-2 shot throwed onto victory in the Ryanair Chase for trainer Paul Nicholls. And Frost was asked afterwards what it meant to become the first woman to ride that Grade 1 at Prestbury Park.
Look, it doesn't matter whether you're a boy or girl, it doesn't matter who you are. If you want something and you got the support, then go on and keep kicking and doing it. Like, I live by that metaphor. If you look at the top of the mountain, it's a very, very long way up, and sometimes it's daunting. Like, for me, when I was a kid, if I looked at this point now, I would have never believed it. But I didn't. I just kept my eyes on the floor and kept moving them forward and kept making sure I'm going uphill. And as long as you're doing that, and as long as you've got people holding your hand and pulling you up with you, then good luck and keep kicking.
Yeah, she really was a tonic to listen to after her race today. To the rugby, and Tyke Byrne has been handed a first Six Nations start for Saturday's meeting with Wales in Cardiff. He replaces the injured Ian Henderson. There's another change to the pack with Sean O'Brien returning at open side for Josh van der Fleer, and having been named in last week's starting lineup but ultimately withdrawing from the side that beat France, Rob Kearney has again been named at full back. Kieran Marmion is likely to make a first appearance of the championship, having been named among the replacements. Wales, for their part, unchanged for the game at the Principality Stadium as they chase the Grand Slam. The issue of the roof predictably came up in Joe Schmidt's press conference today, and whether or not to keep it open.
Last time we said, look, we don't mind, you choose, and they chose closed but made the field incredibly wet at the start of the game. So we will probably be happy enough if it's open anyway. We'll adapt to whatever conditions the game's played in, and if the Six Nations decide that it's going to be closed, well, it'll be closed and we'll play in those conditions. And if they decide that it's open, then we'll play in those conditions.
Is it their decision?
Well, there's been a request from Wales that, in the interest of the quality of game and the very poor weather forecast, that the roof be closed.
Yeah.
And so they've said to the Six Nations directly, can it be closed?
What do you want? Yeah, normally.
Yeah, well, we'll adapt.
When it was put to Schmidt that the visitors usually make the decision about the roof, things became somewhat fraught.
Yeah, normally. Yeah.
So okay, guys, we've kind of covered that.
Yeah.
So we're just going to shut down.
Yeah, no, I think it's been pretty clear that they've made an appeal to the Six Nations.
Yeah.
We're part of the Six Nations. We have to see what they decide now.
Must have been a pretty enthralling press conference. And the media man had to step in as well.
Because clearly there's been a call here from somewhere in the middle, it isn't necessarily Wales, that the roof should be closed for this thing. And Schmidt and possibly David O'Shea on by his side there ain't too happy about that prospect that the decision has been taken out of their paws.
It's a bit of a nonsense, really, isn't it?
What? Opening or closing the roof? It's a huge issue.
No, but whether the pitch is wet or dry. Like the last day, they closed it and they watered the pitch. Like, doesn't really matter. Go out and play the game and let's get over it.
Well, there is an issue.
It actually does really matter, yeah.
I know, but like, just, okay, now we'll put on the long studs instead of the multi-studs and we're good to go.
What is it, 1917 and Shane Stapleton's had his first giving out?
Yeah, but the thing though, really, if we're honest about it, rugby is a game of emotion, as we know. So all the players will be going out with tears in their eyes and the pitch will be wet soon enough anyway. So long studs and on we go.
Speaking of emotion, we got another text in, and this is actually really pulling at my heartstrings. Supermax should buy Coppers and match made in heaven. I don't think I'd ever leave.
Wow.
Can you imagine? You could have your 5 mega mix, you could have your drinks, and when you're finished up for the night then, when it's time to go home, you go up and you get your curry cheese chips. on the way home.
There isn't a Supermax on Harcourt Street, is there?
No, there isn't. I really wish there was.
Baffling that there isn't, because that's just an ideal marketing opportunity right there.
You have to go down around. God, I'm giving myself.
Here we go. Go on.
You have to go to
The Maire Treasa Parade of Shame.
You have to go to Babylon down. Is it what's the street behind? Is it Camden Street or Wexford Street?
Wexford Street, yeah.
Zaytoon isn't bad either.
And they play great tunes as well in Babylon, like full blast.
Yeah, they do. It's a bit of a.
You're not supposed to be hanging out having a disco while you're trying to get your kebab.
Well, like, I'm a student now. I'm allowed.
If there's a Supermax in Coppers, though, it'd be basically like the Air Square Supermax then, and Pat McDonough would be in there clearing up at 5 a.m, wouldn't he?
He would, yeah. He does that.
Clear the tables.
I don't think that ever.
I used to work in a Supermax, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, I worked in Supermax in Spiddle when I did my undergrad in Galway.
Have you any tales to tell of wonderful times in Supermax?
The only thing I'll say is that actually it's very clean. We were always cleaning. All the Supermaxes are very clean.
There you go. 17-year-old Bevan Parsons has been handed a first start in the wing for Ireland's women's meeting with their Welsh counterparts. That is on Sunday. Parsons replaces the injured Alison Miller. The only other change from the defeat to France sees Lindsay Peat return from a neck injury to start at Loosehead. Chelsea absolutely cruising into the Europa League quarter-finals. There was a 5:55 start in the Ukrainian capital, where it's currently Dynamo Kiev 0, Chelsea 4. Olivier Giroud has scored a hat-trick. Marcus Alonso has scored the other. Chelsea 4-0 up on the night and are leading 7-0 on aggregate, and without doubt will be in that draw tomorrow. Arsenal, though, have a steep climb ahead of them if they're to reach the last 8 this evening. They trail Rennes by 3-1. There's an 8 o'clock start to their second leg at the Emirates, and Arsenal line out with Petr Cech in goal, a back four of Shkodran Mustafi, Lauren Koscielny, Nacho Monreal and Sead Kolasinac. Aaron Ramsey and Granit Xhaka anchor the midfield, and in front of them Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Mesut Ozil and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and fresh from having his suspension reduced, Alexandre Lacazette leads the line, and as I say, there's an 8 o'clock start to that one. Further on, Mick McCarthy says Patrick Bamford is unlikely to become a Republic of Ireland international before the start of next season. The manager says the lead striker wants to concentrate on his club's promotion push before eventually declaring for Ireland. Bamford would not have been involved for this month's Euro 2020 qualifiers with Gibraltar and Georgia, but Luton striker James Collins could be. League One's top scorer is one of 2 uncapped players named in McCarthy's pared down squad of 23, with Bournemouth keeper Mark Travers the other. Stephen Ward, Cyrus Christie, Aidan McGeady and James McCarthy are among the experienced players who miss out, but Glenn Whelan does make the cut.
James Collins would be an interesting one to see. 20 goals in League One. Yeah. But Ronan Curtis, I mean, have you seen the story about him?
He's lost part of his finger.
Yeah, freak accident. So Kenny Jackett said Ronan trapped his finger in the door. It's quite serious and needed surgery to stitch it back on. It happened at home. It was windy down in Portsmouth and the wind caught the door as he was leaving his house to meet up with us. And according to his mum, the top of his finger was hanging off and they sewed it back on with plastic surgery.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
It did like, the name of the player escapes me, but there was a Finn Harps player a couple of years ago lost a finger as well at the time, had a really bad accident, and ultimately he was forced to retire.
Oh well.
So I don't think Curtis is going to be that serious. I think touch wood.
Well, he's named in the squad.
He's named in the squad.
Yeah.
McCarthy clearly thinks, get up and get on with it, lad.
Patrick Bamford, though, isn't named in the squad.
Well, he wasn't going to be named in the squad anyway because he hasn't declared in time, but we're currently hurtling down another Declan Rice scenario, whether McCarthy wants to admit to that or not. McCarthy today was adamant that Bamford seems to be fairly keen about coming on board and that there isn't really any worry that he's going to change his mind by the time June rolls around, but the fact that he wants to concentrate in Leeds promotion push and has no interest in playing a Euro qualifier by June, I'd be worried.
Yeah, his form has been really good, like since he got fit again, and Paul Dickoff had said that I can't remember the exact quote, but he was basically saying that he hadn't been himself. And since he's come, that was probably to do with injuries. Since he's come back, he's got a hatful of goals. He had a couple of assists against Reading last night as well. One was a lovely little step over to allow someone else to finish. So he does look like a quality player, and I mean that's why Chelsea would have signed him all those years ago.
Yeah, we do need strikers, but the fact that he's putting on the front of a fair term after talking about Ronan Curtis, the fact he's putting on the long finger,
and the fact that he was also very, very optimistic about Declan Rice just a few months ago.
Sure, weren't we all?
No.
That's probably been a
No, we certainly weren't.
Meanwhile, go on.
I was just going to say before you go on, we've one more text here coming in about
Please don't be about
not about coppers.
Thank God.
It's not about coppers, it's about Bryony Frost, and it's from Jane. He says she has one of the great voices. Sounds like she could have played the artful Dodger in Oliver.
She absolutely does. She was full of beans when she won that race as well. Ollie Bell was interviewing her for ITV Racing afterwards, and she was absolutely in love with her horse and the performance that they just put in, and clearly there's a relationship there as well, that, you know, going back to the stables and how well they've worked together in the past. So yeah, it's been a beautiful day at Cheltenham, as John mentioned. There are loads of lovely little narratives going on. Leinster retaining the services of their coaching team, we've heard this evening. Head coach Leo Cullen signing a contract extension to keep him with the province until the end of the 2021 season. Senior coach Stuart Lancaster has seemingly ended speculation linking him with a possible exit. He's also signed a new deal with last year's double winners.
It's quite interesting, I think, to see a guy who's gone from managing his country or coaching his country to being number 2 in a province. It even actually kind of reminds me of Stephen Rochford going from Mayo manager from the past 3 seasons to being Donegal's probable number 2 or selector this year as well. I don't know, does that take strength to go from a position of where you're the guy to being the second in command? Even Roy Keane, I suppose, before that, he's done something similar, but it's definitely interesting, the mindset to do that. The
Lancaster one has worked brilliantly for him and has done nothing but elevate his stock. I mean, when he left the England gig, I'm not saying he would have been short of club gigs. I'm sure he would have been over in England, but Leinster decided to bring him in as a bolt-on to Leo Cullen and his coaching team. It's worked fantastically. Everybody seems to be getting on great with it. Lancaster seems to be enjoying it. There's every reason to just continue it and keep it going. At this stage, I think he'd be a huge loss to Leinster if he was to walk out the door on them, which, if a boatload of money comes across the Irish Sea in the next few months, might still happen, but fingers crossed from Leinster's point of view, they managed to keep hold of him. But he's a fantastic attitude, as you say, to be involved at that level with them.
Speaking of boatloads of money, you've got golf as well, don't you?
Yes, indeed I do. Lovely segue. Rory McIlroy has made a bright start to the Players' Championship at Sawgrass. He carded 5 birdies in a flawless opening round of 67 to end the day on 5 under par. Seamus Power didn't have such a sunny day, carding a 2 over par round of 74. Shane Lowry is level par through his first 4 holes this evening. Tommy Fleetwood, though, is the man who heads the field. He's 7 under par. He shot a round of 65 today. And the Aviva Stadium could end up hosting both semi-finals of this year's Heineken Champions Cup. Should Munster see off Edinburgh and wind up facing Glasgow, the Lansdowne Road will stage the resulting semi-final. However, a Saracens win over Glasgow means Munster will be heading to Coventry's Ricoh Arena. Leinster and Ulster need to lose to beat Racing on the other side of the draw to guarantee a semi at the Aviva.
Okay, well, Sinead, listen, thanks a million, Richie, for coming in. And everyone at home, please feel free to send in all your comments about Coppers, if only just to drive Richie up the wall. We've got plenty more coming up. We have actually John Giles on next. We recorded a chat with him earlier, and in it you'll hear us speak about Patrick Bamford. He hadn't seen the latest comments about wanting to focus on his club career, but it's a great chat, so make sure you join us.
Off the Ball on Newstalk. Moncrief.
This week, Newstalk has been exploring all that Northern Ireland has to offer. We've been to Belfast, Derry, Fermanagh, and tomorrow I'll be continuing the exploration on the Antrim coastline as the Moncrief Show comes live from Ballygally Castle Hotel, all thanks to Discover Northern Ireland.
Moncrief.
Sponsored by 123.ie.
Live from Antrim tomorrow from 2.